Hello, friends. Welcome to another Say It Loud podcast. I'm your host, Matt Jones, and this week, Fair City Fire, super stoked to have Walker Lukens on the podcast. He's a Texas native. You've probably seen him somewhere. He's currently enjoying an amount of success that a lot of musicians would enjoy, but he's still hungry. He still wants to keep writing. That's what keeps him going. He has a lot of things to say, and he wants to say them now, to our benefit. He's been a very prolific musician the last few years. Check him out on Spotify. His latest singles are Tear It Up My Heart and Baby. We talked about his writing process, the confessionals that he does at his show, and how his mom helps keep him grounded. Check him out at Antone's in Austin on August 18th. Go to walkerlukens.com or just check him out on Spotify. And I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. We've been getting some new listeners lately, and we get great feedback from you guys. You know, the goal of Say It Loud is to keep building the Austin music community, so we appreciate all your support. Things are getting bigger and better. So please enjoy Walker Lukens. Be sure to check out Fair City Fire August 5th at Mohawk, 8 p.m. faircityfire.com, walkerlukens.com. Say It Loud podcast on all the socials. So easy.
What's
We're
up?
ready. We're talking about tour. You guys just got back from one. So Walker Lukens is in the studio today. Studio means the the room that Hoosier walks loudly around.
Yeah, the office / third bedroom.
So Say It Loud. We've got Brett. We've got Brian. We've got Joe. I'm Matt.
Hey.
Yeah, Walker Lukens is
Hi.
here.
Hello.
First timer. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
You and Joe were just kind of pre-talking. Or this is what we say in the podcast world. If you're not talking, I guess, on the microphone, it's like, why do you even talk? You know?
What's it for?
But you guys getting into some tour talk. And you guys got 4 or 5 gigs coming up in August, September.
Well, we have 4 at the end of the month, and then we have 3 in August. Sorry, 3 in August, and then like 12 dates in September, and then 2 in October.
Yeah. And all not around here? All everywhere else?
All not around here.
Yeah.
It's been a good year, but this year, for a variety of circumstances, we did more kind of shorter tours and more of them. And it seemed like a great idea at first, but I'm so not into it now.
So now they're all booked already and you have to like go on them, or?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be good. It's still just like, I actually think it's not being gone that's hard. It's getting back.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
Absolutely.
But being gone's fine. I'm down with being in a car.
What are the foundations of making a tour like that? What were the reasons? Is it like financial decisions or just putting the right people in place for X amount of days?
Well, so it started because we took 2 months off from playing, and we were recording, and then to sort of get back into the mode, we did 5 days, and then South by, and then
You guys were exhausted at that show. Like,
oh my god,
I remember specifically you being like,
we're
so tired. Just in the
so tired
in the mic.
but I had fun.
Yeah.
I had fun. But yeah, I was very tired. So then we were going to do 4 weeks, basically everywhere east of the Mississippi River. And then we got this offer to do these dates with Spoon. So we had to cancel the shows that we were going to do in those places, which meant canceling a week.
Yeah.
Basically. And then we got an offer to do a festival in the same region, so then we had to cancel those. So I went from being gone for like 30 days, not quite that long, but ish, to then it was like, okay, well, we're going to be gone for 15. And then we were home for 2.5 weeks. Then we went out for 7 days. And then we were home. And then June was really hectic, at least for me, just because I had to go back and do everything else to make leaving possible. So then we were gone at the end of June or beginning of July, and then we're gone at the end of July, and then So it's just been this thing where it's like, instead of it being kind of compact, it's been really like back and forth. Yeah.
Well, as far as like stuff that kind of derails your like plans to go out for 30 days or whatever, like it seems like those are great things. Like Spoon asking you to,
I think they're
having you on
great.
tour and,
They're
like,
great music.
Lou
They're
Fest,
great
right?
career problems.
Yeah.
They're difficult personal problems.
I could see that.
But yeah, career wise, it's good.
Yeah.
But I think just on a personal, it's like been hard financially.
You probably don't have a real job, do you? Like outside. I mean, how could
I don't have a full time job.
Yeah, how could anybody be like, oh, I'm going to be out next, or maybe next week, but maybe for 3 weeks next month, but maybe.
Oh, for sure.
I'll let you know. Don't.
Everyone's got a sitch, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone who's doing it has a sitch. But I used to work at ACC.
In what capacity?
I taught in the GED department, and they realized that GED students, understandably, don't do so well in school. So instead of making it semester based, it's these little 8-week terms. So that like if something comes up and like you can't go to class anymore, you can skip a term and then get right back into it instead of waiting like 5 months.
Okay.
But it was really good.
Smart.
It is really smart. It was a really great idea, and it's good for me as a teacher because I can miss one 8-week term and go to the next one. And for a while there, I was really like getting my terms. I was getting my like tours scheduled around my terms very well, but then I just totally lost it. So
What are your prerequisites for being a GED teacher? Are you in the education field before?
no, well, yes, I was. I went to Southwestern University, and for a variety of reasons, I got to the end of school and had 1 credit left, and I didn't want to pay to go to summer school. And
That's the worst deal in history.
yeah, well, because the thing is, it's like summer school there. It's not like going to ACC for $500. It's like fucking $5,000. So I was like, I don't want
For
to
1 credit.
do that for 1 credit. So we worked out a deal, which is that I could go to this teacher training course to teach like English as a second language.
Yeah.
Because my thought was, I'm gonna go like teach English in Vietnam or something.
You say you're going to go to Nam after?
I wanted to go to Nam. Yeah.
Oh, is that what you said?
I was also gonna time travel. That was another skill I acquired.
That's pretty good. That's a
ACC.
good school then.
That Southwestern's got time travel classes.
But yeah, so I went and did this training course, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you credit for it." The training course costs $1,000, and I got to live in New York, and then I ended up living in New York and teaching English for like 3 years. And I moved here. All the ESL jobs they're weirdly coveted in Austin because there's not a lot of them, and a lot of people go through UT and they're like really, really high, overqualified to teach ESL. So honestly, the only job I could get using my like teaching experience was at ACC, and yeah, it's
Nice.
Is there any particular original language that's more difficult to teach for English? Like, did you have a harder time with anything in particular?
Yeah, definitely.
What is
I really
I guess like Chinese probably or something.
I feel bad for
Probably, yeah.
the students who I feel bad for them. Yeah, like the Southeast Asian languages is really hard. I feel bad for them, but also because they can't get by speaking their first language, it's also easier for them because it's like sink or swim, you know?
Oh, damn.
So it is hard,
Yeah.
but also what really makes you learn another language is being forced to,
Yeah.
you know? And so in that way they have an advantage. I'm no longer so shocked when I meet someone who like has lived in Texas and never learned English and they speak Spanish. It's like, yeah, I bet you could totally just speak Spanish here, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Are you from Austin, dude?
I grew up in Houston.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
Watch out. Look out.
Oh.
Where from?
Yeah.
Are you from Houston? You're
Joe
from
is,
Houston.
I'm from Spring.
You're from Spring.
Uh-oh.
I'm out the loop. I was
If
born
we
in the
were
loop.
in high school, we would like be talking shit right now.
Absolutely, we would. There would be a battle right now, right at school. No, I was born in the loop and then raised outside of it, though.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose where you live.
It's true. It also doesn't matter. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So, what part of Houston?
I grew up in West Houston.
Is that where you started music?
Yes and no. I mean, I was lucky growing up. My older brother played music, and I think I was just totally inceptioned in thinking that playing music was cool.
What kind of music? I mean, in a band?
Yeah, he was always in bands.
Yeah.
So he was 12 when Nevermind came out. So I was 5, and I remember that. And at 5, I was like, I'm gonna play saxophone in your band.
Fuck yeah.
That was my 5-year-old thought.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So I was always in my brain, and then my mom went back to school to teach music, which she ended up not doing. She ended up just being like a history teacher. But I grew up with a piano, so I never took piano lessons, but there was always a piano right there. My dad went through a pretty hardcore midlife crisis and bought a drum set, and that was just there.
Yeah.
So my older siblings went to college when I was like 13, 14. So I kind of just had my run of the house, and I took guitar lessons, but I never even really, I don't remember making a decision to stop. I think I was just playing other instruments, and it was all just around, and then I started playing in bands in middle school, and they're all terrible, but you know what it is. It's like, it's just getting the.
What do you think gets you to pick up those instruments, though? Because I don't know if I would have done that when I was running around the house. I would have gone for the the Playboys and the beer or something.
Well, I did that too.
I mean, I still do that.
I definitely did that too.
5-year-old Matt Jones.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think the biggest factor is that my parents and my older siblings were doing it, so I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was a big part. I think the other thing too is that I didn't grow up. I think for some people, they play instruments and they're like, yeah, my parents beat me with a whip every day until I could do my Mixolydian scale. My parents was more like, I had no supervision. When I say I had no supervision, I remember when I was 14, I asked them if I was going to have a curfew. And their exact response was, well, then we'd have to stay up.
Yeah. It's funny.
I don't know if that's something to laugh at. Is that maybe that's
I think it's pretty funny,
I think
but
it's
I
hilarious.
just could do whatever I want. I had
Yeah.
no one making me do the right thing at home. I could just do it. So I would go to do my homework, and I would just play music forever. It was all I ever wanted to do or was doing, kind of.
nice.
For a second, I was worried. I was like, "Don't say that. What if your parents hear that and they're like, oh, they're not going to listen to it because they're not like." Yeah, they're not. Do they?
No.
I mean, do they? With what you're doing now, are they paying more attention, or I mean, is it not?
Okay,
fair
so
enough.
there's only my mom.
Let's get
Only
personal.
my
Okay,
mom's
okay,
around, and
okay.
she's I think at this point, I was talking about this actually with with one of my bandmates, that we've been doing it for so long, and they're not supporting us, so they're sort of like, hey, you really hung in there with it, didn't you? It's cool, So I feel like my mom is she's really sweet about it, but not it's because it's no longer her worry. It's like, man, well, I don't know how you do it, but you're doing it, But I get a big kick out of it. Like when my aunt, one of our jokes in the band is when someone's like, "How was your trip?"
Yeah.
And we walked into my aunt's house when we were in Minnesota, and
Did you have fun?
and my
So
aunt
funny.
was like, "How was your trip?" And we started cracking up, and we were explaining to her how it's just not a trip.
Yeah.
It's so it's still pretty great, but it's so not a
It's not
trip.
vacation. It's not like.
Yeah.
In their mind, it's literally how was your trip to New York? Oh, it's going to New York and coming back, just straight.
And
There's nothing in
getting on a
between.
plane and watching a movie
Yeah.
and having time to see all the cool stuff, none of which is true.
Sleeping on a nice bed for
That's
more
hilarious.
than 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it all the time.
So my mom is I think, yeah, she's nice. She actually asked me, she asked me the other day, she's like, how is music? Yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
that's good.
That was it. How is music?
What do you say?
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's going well.
Yeah.
We can see. I think you have definitely an amount of success now, where I think a lot of
you.
bands or artists would want that for sure.
That's
so
nice. Thank you.
Does that, when your mom asks you that, does that translate to your head? Like, actually, I'm in a direction I want to be going. Like, do you feel
Yeah.
that and just not say it? Or, but I mean, how do you really feel about it? Where it is?
Well, the first thing I would say is that I like that my mom doesn't care.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You need somebody to
because
keep you grounded.
I do think it does keep me grounded, but also I think it's like a nicer kind of unconditional love. Where it's like, oh, how's music?
Yeah.
How's teaching?
It doesn't
You
matter
know,
what
like,
you're doing.
it
She just cares about whatever.
She just cares. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
do
the
like that
best,
for my
man.
mom. I think I've been on this tip for a little bit where a lot of it's inertia, just whatever you're doing. It's like you kind of like the effort you were putting in 6 months ago is paying off down the line.
Yeah. Like a year from then, or like
Yeah.
8 months from then.
And okay, so I met you because you came to that crazy event that I did.
That was
right?
nuts. That was
Right.
well. It was funny because that was the night we had a show at the North Door, too.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hey, dude, I have to leave."
Yeah, shit, but you came back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But that's one of those things where that was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's paying off now. So I feel like I've been on this thing where I've just been trying to like enjoy what's happening a little more.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause yeah, I feel like the music stuff it's like in motion. So as long as I keep putting in a certain amount of effort, it continues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that doesn't always mean that I like am enjoying what's going on. Like sometimes I feel like I will like look up and be like, what have I been doing for the last month? I feel like I haven't had like one moment to be like look in the mirror and be like, was yesterday good? Was bad? So I've been sort of trying to be a little more like present, and it's been a little better.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
a
I
little
mean-
better. It's like I've been enjoying the stuff more.
I mean, you're still on a pretty prolific tear in terms of putting out content and records, and you had a new record last year, and you've got a couple singles this year. Like, is your idea of a break like just like 4 days or something like that?
I haven't figured out what a break is.
Yeah.
I sometimes I feel this thing. I think it's might be obnoxious to say, but I just sort of feel like feel a kind of urgency with like putting things out. And I don't know that it's always like the wisest move from a career standpoint, but I just feel a need to do things. When it comes to being prolific, it's like I watched this interview with Madlib the other day, and this guy was asking him all these questions about his like output. And he's like he makes electronic music mainly. I guess he makes jazz too, but they were just like, well, what were you thinking on this record? And he was like, I don't know. I make 11 songs and then I send them to the record label guy. He's like, and he puts them out and then I'm done with it. Like, I have things to do. That's what I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I feel like a more normal, more understandable version of that, where it's sort of like I just have a lot of things I want to like do and say, and I want to do and say them now. I mean, it will always be cool to go eat dinner with your fucking girlfriend. I can do that all the time. Like things I need to say.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Will it be cool all the time?
Yeah, man. Food's great.
Dude, that event was funny. That Native Hostel event, because afterwards it just seemed like everybody was just hanging out, just like getting drunk. It was a good time. But that food was awesome. Your drummer, shout out to your drummer.
Yeah, Zach's a great
and
cook,
his
man.
and his girlfriend, because they made a badass veggie lasagna.
Yeah.
That evening.
Zach and Monica are really skilled.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And it's funny because afterwards I was on my way here and I was like, man, I'm gonna call Walker out for that shirt from that event.
No, I remember.
And the haiku. I need a haiku as well.
It's on the shirt. Dude.
Oh fuck yeah!
I got it.
I was like, man, I'm gonna call him out on the podcast.
No,
and
no,
then
I
I
remember.
you texted me, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah, no, I remembered. Sorry, dude. I saw
No.
your joke.
That's pretty sharp.
It was funny though. Yeah,
it's-
no, it was
yeah.
just funny. I was like, shit.
I'm impressed.
I was like, I was impressed you remember, but then I was also like, I lost my material.
Yeah. Joke's gone, man.
Joke's gone.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. No, thank you.
In terms of like your growth and where you are now, and what you're talking about, so the hunger for you now, in terms of keep making music, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have is it cognizant in your brain, like the business side of it too, or is it just like I'm doing this because I want to be creative, I want to write this song, or do you kind of have a sense of how those both intertwine?
I think there's a lot of overlap, for me, at least at this point, in thinking about how to put stuff out that's not like. I think as a writer, a lot of times I'm like kind of concept driven. Like I'll want to make a song because it's like, oh, I want to make a song like this, you know? And sometimes I think I've put music out in the world where it's like, well, that was a fun thing for me that never needed to see the light of day, you know? I think I've been able to like strike a balance in some sense of like thinking about both at the same time. The business stuff is it's interesting. I think that if you don't like, I think a lot of the music business hinges upon like you just always want to make people think that like things are getting bigger and better.
Right, of course.
You know, which is
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous.
Oh, it
You know?
is, yeah.
You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong at all.
But that's basically like that is what in 2,000 words like a manager is trying to make happen. It's like
It's like a
you're
magic
huge.
trick, kind of like
Yeah.
presenting something and then like later on presenting it as something else, and just
Yeah,
like, is that
Yeah.
kind of the strategy for you? Is just follow along with what's needed? You think, or
okay. So maybe just to put it in, and I don't. This is my way of trying to answer your question. Is that I'm thinking about all the music I'm gonna release next year right now.
in
Like
2019?
Yeah,
Okay.
and like we are 60% done with a record, full length, that I would say is like a major release, and then we are.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
On the Say It Loud podcast.
I would say that we're make sure flip the interview. So this is at the end, you know, a real nugget.
Yeah.
Gotta stick around.
The message boards are gonna go crazy.
Man, message boards, dude. I have a good message board story.
Yes,
All right.
please.
But we're like 30% through like a kind of minor thing, like a minor release. On the one hand, you just got to keep the train rolling, and then on a personal level, it's like, my like own creative satisfaction. I have like a vision for what I want it to sound like and be like, but I think I'm lucky in some sense that the music that I naturally make is not bubblegum and it's not unlistenable free jazz. So there's like, I don't have to worry a lot about like making something that's going to be like, what the fuck did he just make, you know? And just losing the few people who do really care, you know?
We just lost all of our jazz listeners.
All the
yeah. They're like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
30% of our demographic right
We
there.
do have a huge free jazz listening group. Yeah.
And they
Ornette
hate this
Coleman
show.
for president.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, for not being bubblegum or like improv jazz, you do still reside on a lot of the landscape, I would say, between those two extremes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you're writing music, you know, because,
Like-
when I listen to your tracks, they're different. Like I hear sometimes like Beck or Bruno Mars, or like I hear more rock stuff. And what I'm wondering, it sounds like you like find the right people to be with you. I don't know if you have do you have like brass bands and things like that join you, or?
I have a pretty steady band.
Yeah.
I've been with the same drummer and the same backup singer and keyboard player for almost 4 years. Same bass player for almost 3. And the latest guitar player, I've had a lot. Wes has been around for this year. There's that. I mean, I've recorded a lot of music with Jim Eno, which he's been a good, like, kind of solid force. Yeah, they're returning characters for sure.
That's awesome.
I really I will say that in the last year I've met a lot more of the players around town, but I have like some brass players I really like working with.
You did something with Mobley too, didn't you? Or,
Yeah,
that's cool. He's
he-
awesome.
We did so he did some writing on a song I put out, "Tear It Out My Heart."
Okay.
He wrote some of the melodies and lyrics, and man, your dog is just going to town.
He's just drinking so much, man. Hey, it's 2018, year of hydration.
I think it's pretty great though. I'm glad to hear he's drinking water.
Yeah.
My dog is like a street he's a rescue dog or whatever. And he was a little older when I got him. And this dog trainer told me this once, that I was like, my dog does not drink a lot of water. And he was like, a lot of dogs that lived on the street, they're way more like reticent to just drink whatever because they don't come around water a lot. So like they kind of like get by on a little less. So whenever I hear a dog like going to town, I'm like, well hydrated.
Well hydrated pup.
Good parenting.
Yep.
He's been
sorry.
sober for 3 days now. That's great. Yeah.
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
So, well, thinking about the talent that you have with you in terms of recording, that's what I was wondering. Because you have those people that you work with. When you're writing songs, in your mind, are you thinking about the final production? Because some of these have, whether it's additional vocals or percussion, or do you have a general direction right away as soon as you're thinking about these songs?
Usually, there's some direction. I like to bring stuff into the studio that's not finished. So we'll definitely have the rhythm section kind of worked out and have the melodies and most of the lyrics. But I like intentionally like to bring stuff that's not all the way done. Because for me, I think for the kind of music that I want to make, it kind of turns out better that way. Like bringing in stuff that's fully formed, it just sounds a certain way. And I think that for the music that I make, I try to always set it up to where I can do that. So like with Baby, which we put out in June, I have this beat making app on my phone, and it's like the whole song is this 2-chord loop, but I made it one day. I was working for my friend. I was working at Armadillo Christmas Bazaar. I was just fucking sitting there selling leather goods, and I like made this beat, and I had the chord idea, and I was just like kind of walking around, and it started from that, and I worked it out with Grant and Zach, and then when we got in the studio, it's like we literally spent an entire day being like, what can we put on this that plays these chords that's not a keyboard? Or that's not like a piano, We spent in a whole day just throwing shit against the wall,
That's cool.
And so after like 5 or 6 hours, I put. Do you guys know what a Nashville tuning guitar is? It's like the high strings from a 12-string.
Okay.
So just the high ones.
I've heard the term before, but I wasn't familiar.
It's
That's
like
cool.
It was like a recording. They started doing it for recordings because it has none of the bass.
Yeah.
So if you're playing acoustic guitar, you get all the rhythm. It's like you get the feeling, but you get none of the kind of clickiness. So it's a Nashville tuning with a damper on it, and it's got through a pedals. It was on the recording, but everyone's like, "Oh, that keyboard's cool." I'm like, "It's not a keyboard," but like that. I wanted to set it up so that we could spend a lot of time working on that, because that to me is like the kind of thing that I really love. is finding like these crazy sounds. And
It sounds like a song for you could come from either the song or the lyric, and then you'll patch it where it goes or where the feel is. Basically.
yeah, a lot of times for me, it's sort of like I'll get a little rhythm chord thing, and spend a lot of time with that, just me, and then kind of bring it to my rhythm section and let them flesh it out. That makes sense.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like kind of concept driven writing pretty much. So is it like the concept hits you first, or is that something that develops as you're writing these songs? Like, so I've gone both ways on
I
that.
think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think recently I've been really into over the last year or so, I've been really into early dance music,
Okay.
like Kraftwerk and
Oh, nice.
Donna Summer's early
yeah.
records, and
Cool.
and like a lot like in Prince, but also all the Chicago house guys who were like, man, we love Prince, but we don't have any fucking money. And so they'd have like a drum machine and a keyboard. I've just been really into that music. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's just that now dance music is like so big and glitzy. I like all that early stuff because it's like feels sort of
Like you just really got to dance. That's all.
you just
Like
really
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
dance, man.
Like
you
it's at
know?
its core. Like it's at its core.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, it's at its core. And it's like it's just so simple,
Yeah.
but then it's still using really crazy technology.
Mhm.
Like you guys obviously record like the click track, right?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Familiar with the
Of
click
course,
track. Yeah.
our biggest enemy
Ugh.
/ greatest savior.
Yeah.
There's a Donna Summer song called "I Feel Love." It's amazing. Giorgio Moroder produced it, and
Oh, cool.
he was like, "How do I get the synths to talk?" And he created the click track
Wow.
so that all the synthesizers would like cue to the click.
Yeah.
And like listen to that song. I think the writing on the song is amazing, like just the chords and the melodies. But also when you listen to it, you're like, oh my god, you couldn't do this before.
Damn.
Like have a drum machine and like 6 synthesizers all be like in sync with each other. You're like, yeah, wow.
Wow.
You know, he
Yeah.
just like wanted this thing and like was doing a bunch of cocaine and was like, I will have what I want. You know? So
Damn.
cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. So you have the song "Where's Thunder Road."
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Springsteen fan. Does
Me
that
too.
kind of come from like, because like my interpretation of Springsteen's song "Thunder Road" is like it's like almost representing like freedom and like going towards like what he really wants to get out of life. You know, that's how I
Yeah.
interpret. Is that like
That's my
Is that-
interpretation of that song too.
cool?
I wanted to write a song, like kind of like gospel sounding
Yeah.
sentiment. That's where I was coming from. I wanted to write a song about like people, just everyone around me is like trying to write a hit song. You know,
Okay.
it's like
Yeah.
you want that freedom. It is the place where you want to go, but it's like literally everyone around me that I know is like
Where is it?
trying to like do this thing, like write
Mhm.
a hit song.
Okay.
So that's what I was trying to. I guess the thing that I was really feeling at the time was that I was in a heavy party phase. You ever
Okay.
have a moment when you're like around a bunch of people drinking and getting high, and they're all like talking about all the things they're gonna do, and you're like, well, not right now. But I mean, I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, the song was like the lyric, the like, so many ways to get high.
Yeah.
It's like it's just everyone's. It's like people are kind of their own worst enemy too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
But it doesn't ever make sense to literally anybody. So no one ever really gets it. But yeah, that's like what I was thinking about.
That's cool, man.
If we're going to go into songs, of course, we cannot get through this podcast without mentioning Simple Man.
You like that song?
I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I like the...
I think I know where Matt's going
well,
with
the
it.
idea of you had a dream and you were naked with your dick in your hand and your girlfriend saw you.
It was just cracking up.
And I was like, how do you just dream that instead of like being real? 'Cause I've only had the real version of that, and it's much worse than the dream version.
I've had both.
Yeah, okay,
I've had both.
good.
It's, you know, I thought that lyric was gonna be just the funniest fucking thing.
It's fucking hilarious.
That I
loved
could
it.
talk about with just everyone, and
It's
at
great.
shows we'd play it and people would laugh, and instead it's been this thing where it's like,
Like a deeper.
no, like
Oh.
it makes people so uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's real deep.
I thought you like. I thought people were like, "Man, what is that?" You know,
No,
what
no.
are you really trying to say?
No, they're not. They're not thinking symbolism. Like it's just literally like it's like the word "dick" comes out, and people are like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, how does that
Yeah.
play live?
How do you put the dick away? Make it go away.
Also, we're like, what? How did you feel about putting that in the song? Like, like, were you just like, "Yeah, let's do it," or were you like, maybe?
No,
but then,
I
yeah,
had
let's do it.
some. I had some back and forth,
Okay.
but I really like it. I still think it's fucking funny.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And it's pretty much I got into a pretty bad fight with my now ex-girlfriend, and
That doesn't add up.
no, and I literally that night like fell asleep and had a dream that I was naked at a party with my dick in my hand, and she was laughing at me, and I woke up and I was like, man, it's like textbook Freud. It's like the stupidest dream, or not the stupidest dream, but like that dream is so funny and so obvious, like for how I was feeling the night before based on our fight, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's done. Don't even change a word. It just fits right in there. You know?
That's yeah.
That's awesome.
And I guess it's for both, all you guys actually. But do you ever write a song where you either predict or hope for a certain response from the crowd or the listeners, and then does it happen or doesn't it, or does it matter? I mean, like, do you write a song? I mean, like one for the gym or one for like somebody that just got broken up with, or like, do you ever have in mind somebody specifically listening to a certain thing?
I think songwriting is a pretty selfish thing for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much if I like it,
Yeah.
then
I hope
it's
I like
gonna,
this.
It's gonna happen. Yeah,
That's
but
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't really think about other people that much, I guess. But I think, you know, we're kind of similar in that, like, the stuff we write is not like either like way too off the wall where people, you know, can't like gravitate towards it, or, you know, super poppy either. So it's kind of like lucky in that way. But
Yeah.
you know,
I write songs. Write songs thinking about our set sometimes. So I'll be like, man, we really need like a slow one. I don't have any slow songs. But recently, it's been more like, man, we don't have a single song over 120 BPM. It's like a pretty slow band, you know. I think about that kind of stuff, and sometimes I think about like. I think more recently, I've been thinking a lot about. It's definitely wrapped up in the like Me Too movement, if that's the right word for it, but just not wanting to talk about like women in my music in a way that's like, I mean, I felt this before that, but I feel it more acutely now, where it's like, I just don't want to use all that old rock and roll language where it's like, I mean, it's something when you listen to like the Rolling Stones,
Oh yeah.
we've
You
talked
know,
about that on the
Round
show
Sugar,
before,
I mean,
actually.
they have some fucked up
Yeah,
lyrics,
yeah,
man, and they don't age well, and they're terrible, and it's like, I have nothing like that. I have nothing to hide, but moving ahead, it's like, just being more thoughtful about like, yeah, maybe the word honey like rolls off my tongue without thinking about it. It's like, I think I don't want to be part of that anymore, you know?
Yeah, that might like put a bad taste in somebody's mouth, you know?
Yeah, and like,
Yeah, especially if it's not really honey.
yeah,
Which is ironic because "Taste of Honey" by Herb Alpert is a great record.
it is a great record.
That's the
I love
ironic part.
that record.
Yeah.
Right?
There it
Super
is.
good. Super good.
Joe just, yeah, it's perfect.
I totally agree with you.
So you were described by Austin Chronicle as a non-sexually intimidating version of Prince.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
that's like.
And I
think
didn't
it-
know. I didn't know Prince was sexually intimidating. That's what
I think
confused
it
me
was a
most.
backhanded compliment,
Oh,
but I was like,
that's fun.
I'm just gonna put that in my press
It was
release. Like, fuck you
fantastic.
guys.
Yeah.
I think it's like you know, it was written by like a white male writer, so I think he like looks at Prince and he's like, "You're a sexual dynamo," and then when he saw me, he was like,
He's just jealous. He's jealous of Prince.
"You're not sexually intimidating to me. Like I don't feel threatened by you or whatever."
Maybe you need to go threaten that guy
Yeah, yeah.
sexually.
Yeah.
I kind of loved it though because
Yeah, change up that resume.
Yeah. That's cool. But you know, for all that being said, I think one thing that's cool about Prince that doesn't get talked about enough is he all in his songs, he's rarely ever the like sexual like god. It's always girls.
Yeah.
Like it's always these women that are like
she wore what was that? Raspberry beret.
yeah,
Like
they're always
that
the
one,
ones that are
like that.
blowing his
Yeah.
mind.
Uh-huh.
It's never him
Darling
blowing anyone
Nikki.
else's mind. Yeah, Darling Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
that song's wild, man.
That's a wild song.
Yeah.
All right.
God.
That makes it. Yeah.
Go listen to it.
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. It's like, whoa.
Joe, spell raspberry beret.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, if it was Brett. RAS
Dodged a bullet.
BERRY
That's all right. It's done.
BERET.
It'll be all right.
Whatever. That's raspberry
After
beret.
letter 3.
Did I spell raspberry wrong?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
dude.
What-
It's
what
okay.
happened?
It happens.
Where's what did I miss?
It's a tough one.
Hey.
Hey, man, that was a great effort, Joe.
Yeah.
It's
Good effort. Confidence.
Brett spell beret.
No, man, it's in my contract. There's no spelling. It's in my contract.
What does it take for you, for all you guys, to change a song that you think will work better for more people? You know, if you have a part in a song and you're like, God, I just love the way that sounds, or I love the rhythm or the dynamics, and it's like, but if you did this, probably more people would like adapt to it, or more people would like it. Is there? Do you ever feel that kind of boiling point where you have to make that decision, or have you?
I feel like recently we've kind of strayed away from that. I think early recordings we were definitely more aware of that, especially in the studio. You know, cutting songs down to a certain time, or
Or that I don't know, section's too long or something. Let's cut it down by like a measure or 2 measures.
yeah.
Or something like that.
But
Well, I think it's like just more naturally we write in a way that's like it fits like those standards now, you know.
well, even then, it's like
Yeah.
for example, one of our songs, "Fault Line," is like 4 and some change, right? And
Yeah.
song, and there's like a section in there where Clint, who's not here, this is his segment right
Clint's
now.
not here.
Oh, Clint's not here.
Clint's not
Welcome
here.
to Clint's
segment.
not here.
Everybody.
Dang.
Yeah.
He has a segment every. This is his
This
thing.
is this is the thing. This is
He doesn't come
Yeah.
to these.
No, yeah,
and
so
segment over.
it's segment over. Great. Thank you, Clint,
Where
for
like
not being here.
He you know he'll solo for like 4 measures, and then it switches over, and Brian will solo for like 4 measures, and there was a thought like we even cut it down because I think we were doing 8 and 8 originally. And we
Yeah,
cut it down to
which was long.
4s, and then our producer at the time was like, "Oh, you should cut that," and then we're like, "No." And
Yeah.
I think it worked.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the ability and like confidence in our music now to where we can do those weird, because it's not even weird. If you like the band, you're gonna like that kind of thing, right? I'm sure you got followers that like you get weird. They like that shit. Yeah. So.
It's like a weird kind of push and pull, because it's like, you know, on the one hand, if you take the point of view that like I'm gonna do this forever, then like what's one song on one record on one like you know. Also, like I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's like we don't really play the record verbatim, so
True.
if we cut it down on the record, it might be longer at the show.
Yes.
But
And
then the other part of it is like my favorite shit is being in the studio, and like there's this one there's literally a song that we have come to this like stalemate, me and Jim, because I'm like I just kind of deeply believe that this song is over, like it doesn't need anything else for the last minute, and he's sort of like, you can't put that out, like that is too weird.
Oh man.
You know? I mean, it's a friendly stalemate,
yeah, of
but
course,
still
of
it's like all that stuff is so interesting, because it's like, yeah, you get more confidence in your what you're doing. You're kind of like, no,
I think this is
I
gonna
want
work.
that.
Yeah, this is
you know, like that's what I
this.
want. But
Oh,
it's
man.
like all the arguments are always good. It's like, yeah, maybe it should be short on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do a longer live. No, it should be exactly the same. All this stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
they're all great arguments and they all suck. I don't know.
It is true.
It's funny, you know, I feel like that's the, you know, generally the producer's role is to try to convince you sometimes to like
Yeah.
take some of that stuff out, and it's like, Ben's great though. Our guy Ben, like he's great about kind of like the give and take of that, but like
Yeah, and it usually works out. And
I
we
feel like the
usually
producer always
agree
takes that role. It's
in
not
the
like
end, you know?
let's make it more weird. It's usually, I don't know a lot of producers that do that, but maybe they're out there. But
How was
yeah,
how
that
was
works
Jim
well.
about being like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Well, we never came to a final decision. We just put it away for another day.
Okay. Tabled.
But like on that song Thunder Road, like it has 30 seconds of horns just freaking out in the middle of it, and that was a mutually agreed. I mean, there was actually very little even discussion about it. We like made a song, left 32 bars open, so that we could bring in this guy. I know him as Speedy, but he hates when he gets introduced that way. He's the horn player from Brownout.
Okay.
But he's phenomenal trombone player. We were like, let's give it to this arranger. He'll like come up with a horn arrangement or something, some ideas, and we'll talk it out and we'll like do it. And then he just didn't get the like memo. So instead of coming up with like a 8-bar horn part or a 4-bar horn part, he wrote 32 bars. And like he was like just sitting there in front of this mic, and he was like track this thing. He was like, okay, that one's done. Can I just have another track the same thing? Or like copy the track, get a new one. Does it again. And he's just building this whole like horn insanity. And we're like, what the fuck is happening right now? This is so amazing. And then the baritone saxophone player comes in and like does his part, and it literally was like watching a mad scientist for like 2.5 hours, just like do one track after another track, and it was just like, this is amazing. So then all of a sudden we have like 2 minutes of a song, 35 seconds of freak out, and then 30 seconds of a song. I was like, yeah, I think that's done.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
That's cool.
That's cool.
For the new record, I think I want to talk about this karaoke video project that you did, which is, I think, pretty awesome and hilarious as well.
Thanks, man.
So is it all just the new record? Is that all the songs that you did? Or did you mix them up? So if you look it up on Spotify, Tell It to the Judge is the latest record, but you did Baby and Tear It Out My Heart.
Those are more
year.
recent, yeah.
But those are you're just doing the singles now.
Yeah, we just did 2
Separate,
singles. We're gonna do some more stuff before the end of the year, but yeah.
And Baby was the one you were doing the video for at Chirp Charlie's, or
Yep.
Yes, right. Okay.
Yeah.
For the karaoke purposes, it was just the 2017 record, right?
Yeah.
Tell It to the Judge, yeah.
I had done, but so some of that 2017 record came out on these EPs before.
Okay.
So I did those karaoke videos for the EPs leading into the record.
And I bring that up because, I mean, is the purpose of that just because you wanted to make something awesome? Because those are pretty awesome.
Oh, this karaoke video?
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
karaoke videos.
Well, first off, I think no one can never understand what I'm saying. So
that's a great. And just to explain it, so on all of his tracks, he does like a on YouTube you can go and look up a lyrics music video, but he actually does like there's video behind all the lyrics as well.
We did karaoke events. You could like come, and you had to pay $1 if you wanted to sing another song.
Yeah.
Or if you sang one of my songs, I'd pay you $1.
Yeah.
So, I think whatever minor success I've had, it's definitely been around that song every night.
Yeah.
And the problem with that song is that, the problem that I've since discovered is that we'll play shows. A lot of times there'll be people there. Let's say there's a very small percentage that knows the song. And then there are people who are there. They're like, oh, I recognize this song. And then the only word that they know in the song is every night. So you'll see this every night. And then they like get that worried look on their face. Like, kind of shit in their seat.
That's great, though.
So I wanted to make a karaoke videos just to be like, these are the words.
That's cool.
Here they are.
Yeah.
We put that song on we have a playlist where I work. We have a playlist that we play on our way back to, like out from the hill country back into town.
Yeah.
And every night's on there.
Right on.
It's usually a good one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do y'all what are y'all's like thoughts on streaming? Are you
I don't know.
It's good if you're listening.
Yeah.
I do it.
I also
can't be a hypocrite about it.
I don't know. It's weird. Like I feel like
I guess it's your choice, so it's like if you choose to
it's
put
like
your music up
it's
there.
nice having it up
That's
there
great.
because I don't feel like at the level we're at, like it's just out there. Like it just needs to be out there, right?
Yeah.
Like it just should be out there for people to hear it. Like we're making sense sent like 0.00 whatever from whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But like people are out there and they're listening to it, and if it keeps going up and up and up, it's like at least you're putting it out there. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
I like it.
me too.
I discovered it. I discovered one of my favorite bands that way, Dispatch, back in the day. When
Oh, yeah?
when Napster was a thing.
I discovered Dispatch on Napster.
So I love it in that
And I'm-
sense. But
And I'm usually one of the ones that like I'll hear it and then I'll go buy the record, right? Or if I really like it, I'm like, I want this in my stack or my stash or whatever. So like I'm gonna go buy. Like I was listening to
Or see a show.
I was listening, or see the show. I was listening to Rainbow Kitten Surprise a lot on there on Spotify, and then I was like, you know what? I want this record too. Like, and I went out and bought the record, and then I missed them unfortunately at Stubbs, but I was like, I'm gonna go do that if they were here. But
yeah,
yeah,
no,
like,
it's awesome.
usually I'm delve in a little bit more after listening to them there.
if that wasn't a thing, it'd be expensive to find new music. 'Cause there's,
Yeah, we wouldn't find so much.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But on
and
every
Spotify knows that. Sons of bitches.
They do know. It's true.
what does it feel like when your song gets 1 million of something? So like you got 1 million listens. I mean, did you party? What's it like?
$1 million.
I know. That doesn't.
That's what it
it's
feels
not
like.
That'd be
yeah,
a celebrate
Yeah.
for $1 million.
Yeah. If I had $1 for every click, you know.
I think it's sort of those things I was trying to talk about earlier. Where I didn't really feel much of anything.
No way, really? There's no way that's true.
So-
Really, you just it hit 1 million. You were like, yep, that's cool.
Just gonna have dinner with my girlfriend like any other time.
Honestly, I think my first thought was, I wish that happened a year earlier.
Oh,
you know?
okay, yeah.
But
That's
But-
the hungry part.
yeah, it's tricky, man. All that metrics shit is so like, it used to all be hidden. You know,
Mhm.
you never knew how many albums the album you liked was selling. You never knew how many tickets the band was selling to the show or any of that stuff. And now it's like we have all this like data. And the scary thing about it is that all the major labels buy plays for their artists, you know, and so they do it because it bumps the artist's position in the algorithms. So then they do it. So then the smaller labels do it, and then the smaller labels do it, and So then it kind of gets this thing where it's like, this is so much smoke and mirrors, you know. Like now that they count streams for the Billboard charts, it's like Drake had 12, the first 12 slots or something
Yeah.
on the Billboard, and so then it kind of gets this thing where it's sort of like, well, okay, I'm not surprised that Drake has the biggest record in the world, right? On the other hand, it's like, is this really even an effective way of measuring it? You have the top
And who cares?
12 songs in the world, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's the North American Billboard charts,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's like it's a tricky thing.
It's
you
still
know?
gotta feel somewhat. I mean, especially if it's organic, like
Yeah.
you know, like it's fucking wild that even that many people would even take the time
No, you're right. You're right.
To
That's
go-
That's
to
a
go.
healthy out. That's a healthy.
you know what I
attitude.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the Summer of Love?
What is the Summer of Love? Well, you know, I wanted it to be the Summer of Love, but also like horror themed.
With the blood dripping and the stuff on the like the heart dripping on the.
Yeah, I was gonna put out these love songs, and I just thought it would be a. Sometimes it's nice to take like an old like symbol that means something to people and just like make it feel like something different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done, by the way. You know, there's more Summer of Loving.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Summer
You
of
just
Love.
pump me up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Feel
there's
it, yeah.
there's
Hell
more
yeah.
coming.
Yes.
There's also a Winter of Hate after it.
What?
You'll see.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it- you really
Again
did.
on the Say It Loud
That's
podcast.
more my speed right there.
Man, this is exclusive stuff we're getting
Winter
right now.
of Hate, man, it's coming.
Ooh, winter is coming.
Yeah, Walker Lukens. That's basically it. Look it up on Google.
And you got your
Antone's, right?
Antone's show.
Oh, yeah.
That's August 18th, right?
Yeah.
August 18th and
And
Just
that's
bought a
the-
ticket for that today, my man.
Right on, awesome.
And that's
Absolutely.
what's,
Thank you.
What's
Cheers.
what's the deal with the confessional? I don't know.
So, if you buy a ticket to the show, you get entered into the raffle. And if you're chosen, we turn this old trailer into a mobile recording studio. Studio, in quotes. It's a laptop. But you walk
not
in.
like our studio, you mean?
It's a lot like your studio. But you basically there's a screen, and you're on one side, and it's like you're in a Catholic confessional, and on the other side there's a band and a engineer, and you tell them a story or just talk to them, and then they make it into a song, and they write it and record it on the spot.
That's
That
cool.
sounds excellent. So that's gonna be part of the 18th show, or
Yeah.
okay.
So we're actually doing it all over Texas. So if you buy a ticket to the show in the city, then you get entered into the raffle, and it's all bands from each city who are doing the.
That's
Sweet.
excellent.
That's
That's
very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That's such a cool idea, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. We're actually trying to do it more. Trying to do it beyond just August, and it was supposed to be kind of a one-off thing, and it ended up being like a really fun.
Have you ever done
you do
just a confessional show ever, or is that like in the?
The only problem with it is that it takes a while. Like it
Okay.
takes like 4 or 5 hours to
that
like
makes
get the
sense.
song.
Yeah.
So what I've been thinking about doing is maybe making a. Well, so hopefully the hope is that with this, the song, everyone feels comfortable. Some people feel comfortable to like just put the songs out there and just make a confessional record, you know.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's tough because I think one of the fun things about it is that it's nice to make a song with your band or whatever and feel no pressure. Like it's not like, oh, this has to be up to our standard. It's just like we made a song for this awkward 15-year-old
Yeah.
who told us about his heartache, and that's like it's just they like it.
So you
And
do
that's
make
it.
songs for 15-year-olds.
Yeah, I do.
That's what you do. Yeah.
And you did that.
I'm trying to teach them cuss words. Like
You did that the first time the confessional during South by, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
Very awesome.
WalkerLukens.com, right?
yep.
Easy enough. FairCityFire.com. Say it loud on all the socials.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks, Walker.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sweet.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.